Hello, I'm Shelley Rothus, and I'm a different kind of victim. Today I'm going to be going over certain questions that many people have been asking me in message or even in person based upon what I've been teaching, based upon the experience that happened to me where I'm living. So many people are confused. It is a very complicated situation, but I'm going to try to explain so people get a better idea as to what has happened to me as for the abuse. Okay, I'm going to be basing it upon what I have been teaching, which is domestic violence culture and understanding the abuse cycle and why it's important. So, first, gangs versus bullying, something I went over. Let's go over the gangs here. Let's understand this is that gangs form based upon the same ways that bullying cult clans form. Their identity is based upon their characteristics. People want to have purpose in their life. When they say that bullies or even gangs are insecure, have low self-esteem, are jealous of their victim, it's actually true. It's due to them and their own insecurity of not having purpose in their life. So, an abuser that gets involved in a toxic group, such as a gang or a bullying cult clan, it's based upon their insecurities and feeling the need and delusionally believe that their needs are being met based upon their insecurities that they've felt within that group. They feel they are getting their needs completed and that they now have a purpose in their life. So how did I become involved in that? They see me as an enemy due to their jealousy and their intimidation of me. Because I myself, they see as somebody who is striving for positive purposes within my life that they themselves didn't have the courage to do for themselves in their life. So what do they want to do? They want to bring me down so they can feel above me. Well, they're not succeeding now because the truth is coming out based upon their abuse that they had chose to do. So, I'm going to first go over on how this all started so people can understand what happened to me. When I moved here, people were already targeting me, these gangs. They seen me as an enemy, just by seeing me, not even knowing me. None of them knew me. So that's actually how I met my fake friend. And I'll be explaining how this actually applies to how I teach that abuse is abuse and the patterns are the same no matter what type of abuse. So first I want to explain what I learned in my sexual abuse class based upon the patterns of abusers and how they pick their target. In sexual abuse, we teach how single mothers are usually the target. Why is that? Because they see them as it's generalized that they're insecure. Maybe they had a bad relationship where they were being abused by their partner and their children were being abused. The father wasn't a good role model. So what does that abuser think? They think, ooh, I'm going to pretend to be that person that they never had in their life. And then what could actually happen? Hey, they may abuse that mother or her children even. So that's how abusers pick out their victims. When they saw me, they wanted to learn more about me and see what my weaknesses are. How did they do that? Well, they got my ex and my fake friend to do that for them. They had them find out who I am, what my weaknesses are, in order to accomplish their goals. So their goal was to destroy me by trying to get me evicted from my home. Why was that? Because the two people who I was, well, were important to me in my life, but were really fake, knew me and knew that my home was my miracle due to my past life. So that was how they found my weakness as to how they could attack me. And that was to what? Try to get me evicted from my home, and even to the point with the recent situation is trying to get me to lose my housing voucher. And that involved that one significant friend that I saw as somebody I was going to have in my life forever, and was like the sister I never had. But I had to actually admit that the people that were warning me about her is that she is a part of the gang, and they were absolutely correct. So, yes, the patterns don't change. Just like with the sexual abuse and how abusers find their victims and how they get targeted is not any different. Another example of how that works with what I just explained with the friend and the other person, my ex-partner, would be that abuser will get to know the mother. If they're after the children or any of the children, they would get to know that mother, get closer to her, making her think that they're trustworthy and that they actually do care about them and their children, to find out more information about the children. That's why we teach in the mental health field is to be very careful as to what you tell others about your children, where they go to school, what the problems are within their past, as in maybe the father or a relative had abused them, as to letting out things like that. Because that's exactly what the abuser wants to know. Because what? If they had a bad father, what are they going to do? They're going to try to get closer to that child by being the father they didn't have, faking it. Just like my situation with the friend that was like a sister and I thought would be forever is not any different. That person knew that I had many toxic relationships and many people that betrayed me and deceived me in my past. Same with my ex-partner. He had actually known that I was sexually assaulted twice before him. Actually, more than twice, but I was raped 2 different times by 2 different people in my past before him. So, understanding that the abuse can be the same in any type of situation and the patterns is very important in domestic violence culture and understanding it. So, now I'll go to the story as to what happened and what started it, as to how they were able to achieve their abuse on me to destroy me, which was their goal. After meeting that friend, I had met the ex-partner and became close to them. I ended up falling in love with that person, and they were the first person I ever felt the feeling of love with. So, boom, they achieved their goal. I became close with being emotionally attached to that person and falling in love with them. So when I was first dating him, actually he was not a part of the gangs. He actually told me he was no longer associating with them and never wanted to again. I remember one example is when he first showed me these people, 3 people, which was at the time his ex-girlfriend, her sister, and their female friend. He told me straight up, he said, "Stay away from them. They are dangerous." I can kind of go against apply that to what I've been teaching. Sloppy, hypocritical ageism. I still remember that day like it was just yesterday, looking out my window and him pointing at them walking down the street. I thought to myself, what? And especially his ex. That sweet-looking older woman? What? Yeah, just the way they looked, especially his ex. The other 2, not so much, but yeah, they ended up being the worst people I've known in my entire life as for abuse and what they've done to me. The most cruel and despicable things I could never imagine. Worse than any people much younger than them. And I was attacked and bullied throughout my whole life, but they are the worst people I've ever known. And yes, they are in what I apply as teaching for sloppy, hypocritical ageism. Well, he was absolutely correct about them. But what happened? He chose to go back to the gangs. First thing is, his female friend, she actually lived right across from him, and she could see his door through her peephole. she would actually spy on me whenever I was going over his place. She herself wanted control over him at all times as for the decisions he makes, including who he is with in an intimate partnership. And actually, that applies to his ex-girlfriend at the time I was dating him. Is the reason why they broke up is because of this female friend had control over him as to what decisions he made. So she would actually spy on me, and one time it led to where she wasn't getting her way and she felt she was losing control and she felt jealous of me, and she actually physically threatened me right in front of him, where he just watched it happen. I even asked him if he's going to defend me. He said, I'm just watching. He's just watching me get abused by someone. Wow. That was a huge red flag right there. Then after that, I had found out that she had been going to the gang members, who she herself said that she didn't want to be a part of anymore, and they hated her and she hated them, which includes his ex, now current girlfriend, the sister of that ex, and their friend. Well, abusers love to abuse, and like I stated, is they could kick you out, but if they see that you're going to be a big help to them achieving their goal, which was destroying me, they'll accept you back into the gang. And that's exactly what they did. They accepted his female friend back into their gang because their plot to destroy me would work that way. So his ex-girlfriend, people were saying, well, she's jealous of you. She's seen you were back with him, and it's about power and control right there too. I didn't believe it at first because I couldn't understand why she would hate me so much, because I wasn't even around when they dated and they hadn't been together for over a year when I moved in here even. But they told me it's because she saw him as hers no matter what, even if they weren't together anymore. Okay? So she ended up going after me along with them, because this female friend of his even would go up to her, and other people as well. She told me this. His now current girlfriend, at the time his ex-girlfriend, told me that they would come up to her and say, don't you hate her? She's with your man. She even told me that she was confused and said that she had nothing against me. Okay? She had also told me that she's not allowed to talk to me or hang out with me because her sister and her female friend told her not to, that I'm a bad person. And I didn't even know what her sister looked like. I didn't even know she had a sister that she was living with. But they hated me anyways. Again, the jealousy, intimidation. I'm that person with a purpose that they wish they had the courage to achieve or strive for within their lives that they never did. So, back to the story. After that is I ended up getting sexually assaulted by that partner. Ooh, that was their big feed right there. That's when they got the landlord involved to go along with their abuse on me, and she agreed to do it. It was based upon lies. So this is where the shark twatters come in. These gangs ended up getting other tenants where I lived to believe the lies about me. They first, before going to the landlord, were spreading lies that I'm lying about being sexually assaulted by this person that they now accepted back into their gang to help them destroy me. That was the first thing they did, was spreading those lies. Those shark twatters believed it. That's how I ended up getting stalked and harassed by more people. They also tried to get me evicted, first based upon a petition of lies that these people agreed to say that they witnessed me doing these things when they were all lies. So that's how they got the landlord involved. And why would the landlord do this? The why. The naughty why. I have no idea. Abusers abuse because they choose to, and that's what they enjoy doing. That's all I can say. And they'll find a way to abuse, and they, even if it was something that's against their job and the laws, they'll do it. Because that's what they enjoy doing, is harming other people. So after they did that, what happened? I did get an eviction warning based upon lies, and that actually goes against the VAWA. I had actually reported it to the housing authority what was happening to me, but due to favoritism, and which is discrimination, they saw that this place that I live at is their best on their list for housing vouchers. Wow. So that's how they were enabled to continue the abuse, including the landlord, upon me. Is due to discrimination. They were doing laws, breaking the laws such as retaliation for me reporting the crimes that happened to me. And that was also a physical assault and stalking and harassment. And it was also including his now current girlfriend. So let's talk about the jealousy part with his now current girlfriend. I guess that happened before. I'm not the only person. It all started with him living here with his wife and him having an affair with this woman that lives here in this apartment complex. Well, he wanted a pity party. I talk about the pity party. So when his wife left him due to him having an affair with another woman that lives in the same apartment complex as him, he was telling people that she left him for no reason and acted all sad. Yeah. She left him for a reason. I didn't know about this until after we broke up, and his now girlfriend told me with pride about having an affair with him while he was married. Yeah, that's not something I'd be jealous of. Let's just put that out right now. I would have walked away if I had known about this before. But he ended up doing the same exact thing to me. But that's the pattern. They want that pity party, and they get others involved too. And see how the pattern is the same? They got other tenants in here to believe that I was lying about that person sexually assaulting me, to feel bad for him. So yeah, they're going to sign that petition believing the lies to try to get me evicted. Not any different than the situation with him and his wife leaving him, where he was almost homeless and people felt sorry for him, that his wife was the bad one and he was the good one. See? The abuser wants the victim to be seen as the bad one. That's exactly what happened to me. Because that's how the victim becomes outnumbered. Because what? Most people believe lies over the truth. Absolutely true. In this situation, and it is proof. And I have evidence of those lies. Even the most obvious lies people believed. That's how crazy it was. So the laws that were broken that are very strict is based upon the VAWA, Violence Against Women Act. I honestly believe it should be about any domestic violence victim, no matter what gender. But many of those rules, such as retaliation, discrimination, were broken with me very badly. Many of the rules based upon that in the laws that are in Florida for that. So, I had just gone over how it was happening, as in people believing lies, how they set it up, based upon being the same as any other type of abuse, such as sexual assault. They get that victim close to somebody that will find out information about them as for the weaknesses. So, how did I prove that was actually happening? Because once I ended the friendship several different times with that friend that I saw as significant, the abuse went down. Why? Because they weren't getting the information about me to know my weaknesses. And that person wasn't around me to get that information to them. But once they were, that's when the abuse started going up. Again, I had to shamefully admit that that person was a part of this gang this entire time. And actually the recent incident involved her and another friend. I wasn't that close to the other person, and trying to get me evicted because they weren't on the list of gang members that I had reported to the sheriff's department. I was told I should, but but that's where the condition normalized victimization comes into play, is that I didn't want to admit that I was in a relationship that was fake, that that person the whole entire time was trying to destroy me along with other gang members, trying to destroy my life. Did we know it? Did I ever feel that? I felt that throughout the entire relationship based upon her actions, because she would actually associate with these people that were trying to harm me. She actually defended them as to what they were doing to me, treated me as though I was doing things that were causing it, stating, well, you shouldn't have videoed it or this or that. Well, I'm legally allowed to video it, and even the cops, the police department told me I'm legally allowed to. And I had to, and I'm glad I did. I'm glad I didn't listen to those fake people and those that were supporting the abuse, because now I have that evidence and it's turned into several agencies, so the truth is out there. So, my story is pretty complicated, but that's basically as to understanding it a little bit better. Yeah, it started out with the gangs choosing me to be their target, and then finding two people that could get close to me so they could find out my weaknesses in order to achieve their goal of destroying me as their victim. They are persistent. Many people say, well, just ignore it. Well, you know what? That's not any different than telling somebody who's actually getting physically assaulted, just ignore that it's happening. Somebody's punching you or holding you down, just ignore it and it'll go away. My story is proof. These gangs are persistent. When they find a target, they'll keep on going. That's another problem with domestic violence culture, is that people see that they're in the calm down stage right now. They did their plot of abuse, they're right now hiding. What did I say? Abusers, they want to, what? They want people to think that they're the good ones and the victim is the bad one. So right now they're trying to hide their abuse they are still wanting to do to me, to make others think that they stopped their abuse or they've never done it. That's what they want people to see. One thing I noticed that they probably don't realize I see is that my ex is now pretending, by not hanging around certain people, including his current girlfriend, since people are now hearing the truth that she was a direct cause to trying to get me evicted based on lies. And he himself could be in trouble with the law based upon involvement with doing so with this person, his current girlfriend. That's right. I'm not dumb. I can actually see that certain people are avoiding being around others because they want to what? They want to give that impression that they're not doing the abuse that they're actually doing. That's no different than, okay, abuse can be the same and no matter what type. Let's do intimate partnership. How is that related? Say a man's having an affair with a woman. That wife of his notices and thinks that he is having an affair and starts to wonder. What does that abuser do? They tell the person they're having the affair with, let's chill out for a while. I can't talk to you. She's getting suspicious that I'm having an affair. That's no different than what is happening now, where my ex-partner is saying to his current partner that they need to keep it low key so nobody realizes that they're still together, so they think that the abuse is stopping, or the people that didn't realize that they were together, that he was with somebody trying to harm his ex-girlfriend, don't realize that he's a part of the abuse. That way he doesn't get in trouble with the law. Yeah. Nice try, but I spot these things pretty easily. I've been through many, not proudly saying, but many situations that involve abuse, and I spot these things pretty easily myself. And again, conditioned normalized victimization syndrome, I honestly did try to deny it and delusionally pretend that he wasn't a part of this abuse and trying to destroy me, but just like I had to do with my friend that was significant to me, the most significant in my whole life, I had to admit that she is a part of the gang and the abuse that's been happening to me ever since I met her, just like many have been warning me. They were absolutely correct, just like my ex-partner. But again, I have nothing to be really ashamed about, and I was real to them. They meant a lot to me. My feelings were real. I was true. I was loyal. I was good. They're the bad ones. It's their loss. That's something I have to accept and realize, that I'm not the bad one. They are. So that's a little better understanding, I hope, for people that are following my story, trying to learn based upon domestic violence culture, and also the many questions I've had based upon bullying and gangs. I hope you see you for the next presentation that I have. That's it for now, based upon the questions that were asked by several people. And I hope this helped you guys understand what I'm trying to teach and my situation that is complicated, and understanding it a little bit better now. That's it for now. I'm Shelley Rothus, and I'm a different kind of victim. See you next time.